And my camera is like very off kilter, but it's fine. Whatever. I can't even zoom this thing, unfortunately, because it doesn't give me controls.
Double click. How you open it with your Windows photo viewer? Is it?
Yes, yeah, I've already got it open.
Yeah, but if you want to zoom in, you can just double click, right?
Yeah, no, that's not the not the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not the issue. See, there it is. So I can just remove it for now. No, that's not the issue. The issue is I can't zoom in on me so that I can match you in terms of the visual space.
You're talking about the camera.
Yeah, I'm talking about us cams, but nobody cares about us.
Yeah.
They're just like talking heads. Hey guys, those of you that are in the comments already, chats. What's up, Jacques?
People in already? Ah, cool, sweet.
Yeah, there's like
let me
six people.
Let me get this message out. Yeah, welcome guys. We're gonna give it a few minutes while the guys are rolling in. Yeah, I'm just typing something here. Let me just focus my mind here. No, I can't multitask for shit.
Focus your mind. You can't yeah.
To showcase this
Oh. What's up, the Alchemist? I'm having serious webcam annoyance tonight. Ooh, you can see my it's a peek behind the curtain there. Good thing I'm wearing pants. Sorry. Okay. Not that there's enough camera, but anyway, let's not go there.
Okay, right. I actually want to get some give me a moment. I just want to get some fancy RGB light behind me.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I hope I should also get some. Let me get some fancy RGB lighting as well. Hold on. Hold on. You got hey, Crystal Dish. Knowing Jeff, he'll probably go for something like this. But knowing me. Okay, that's enough of epilepsy for you guys. I like this one. I should do this one because it looks like the police are outside my house. Oh wow! I am so easily amused today.
Are you using your little
my right here
square thing?
Yeah, see the police are here.
What is it called again?
That
LED thing.
Oh shit!
Hello, everybody. Okay, where's my mouse cursor on this?
I don't know what. Oh, geez. Okay, that's what that is. That's like a faulty light. This is a TV candle light.
Did you say you got two of them, hey?
I had two of them. My friends
mentioned like
one
one dropped into the pool. Did you get another one or?
No, because they're not cheap. So,
well, they're not that expensive either. They're like what, $400, I think each.
Yeah, to be fair, there we go. Now the police are here.
Yeah. Okay, Jacques here and the Alchemist. I think Christo is Snow Choppy, and Jonga ZA is here. Yay!
Yay! Now we got some.
Natas is here. Hey, Zenith.
Nice. So guys.
Ren, I'm not sure who it is on Discord. Yeah.
But what's up, Ren? 8978.
Yeah.
8978. I feel like that's a number. Like that feels like such a pop culture number. 8978. Or maybe it's their pin. What's up, Natas? Hey, Zenith. Okay, so we're just warming up because we want to get a few peeps in. Also, I'm kind of stalling because I'm hoping I'll find my other glove. Otherwise, I'm looking a bit too cool. But I do want to kind of say this now, and I might repeat myself as I go through the episode. But this was a difficult thing to judge. for many reasons. And there are some things that we've learned. I kind of wish we had a third judge now, because
Well,
I'm
we
so worried people are
definitely
gonna
gonna
hate
have a
us.
thurd judge going forward. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
that's
not just
definitely
like,
gonna happen.
so it's not just
Oh,
Paul and
jeez.
Jeff smelling their own farts,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Paul
let's not get high
Jackson
on ourselves.
is in this. Yeah.
But guys, just
And speaking of which, should we talk about like what we chatted before about like the third judge should be the winner of? Should we chat about
yeah.
that now or?
Well, I suppose I mean you've already kind of mentioned it. To be fair,
Hmm. Yeah.
yes. So as you guys heard Jeff say, that's something that we would like to do and would like to see if you guys are excited about, where we take the winner and make them one of the judges for a future comp. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because we've been thinking like who would be appropriate for like third judge. Do we get like guest judges from outside, the hobby, or but ooh, did you break your chair?
no, I just nearly bailed.
Oh shit! I thought you maybe like pushed too hard on the arms of the chair or something. Yo, that
Oh no,
sounded like a snap.
I did exactly that because my arms on my Corsair chair, they kind of do this, to
Oh,
make it
okay,
like
okay.
nice.
Oh,
And I was leaning on
sure.
it, and it gave way, and I nearly wiped out quite bad. It's
Shit.
quite funny. The Alchemist likes that idea. What's up, Random Vortex?
Yeah.
Did I
Obviously,
see a
look, we'll
screech?
get some more feedback, but I
Yes.
think so far we were probably thinking the winner from the one competition will be the judge, like the third judge for the next competition, and which means they won't be able to enter into the next comp. They could do it like they can still build something out of spirit, to participate, but like not be entering as well. Yeah, obviously, which I think to be it's a nice like handover, like from one competition to the next.
Yeah.
Which is also another incentive for people to like work towards, So when you win first place, you don't just, get your prize, but you also get the recognition to be the judge for the next competition. So yeah.
Obviously, we know that one of the challenges there is that winning a competition and being a judge means that you can't enter the competition, which might take some of the fun away for you, which is why we also kind of want to look at doing varying the categories a little bit going forward now, because we kind of have a much better. In fact, when I say we have a much better understanding, it's more a case of the builders, the build force, you guys have. I don't want to say you've evolved, because I think you guys have always been this good. It's just more of you came out to enter this competition. So we're now seeing a lot more diversity in the builds.
Yeah. Different levels, because everybody's on their own journey as well, So
exactly.
I think going forward, if we have enough entries and we can like have maybe start with two categories, like a newcomer. So if it's your first time entering competition or still new to the hobby, then you can enter the newcomer and to have like different judging criteria, and then you can have our intermediary level for the people that have a bit more experience, And obviously it's going to be vetted. Like if you've got a few experience already, like if you entered like all our competitions so far and you're like in the top 3 places, and then next competition you try and enter in a newcomer category, then we'll actually say no, you've got some skills, we're going to boost you up to the intermediary. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, because one of the
things
so
that it's fair.
Yeah, because one of the reasons we didn't really want to do like a beginner and advanced level in the beginning was because we didn't want you guys to go and be down on yourself and then all think that you're beginners.
Yeah.
We wanted you guys to enter and then use that competition, and I'm talking about the 30-minute missions one, to sort of get an idea of where your skill is. And it's the same thing with this one. We also, when we this is something we actually did predetermine, was when you entered and you see where you place, you'll get an idea of your skill. And hey, what's up, Loud? So I just want to just do a shout out to the guys in the chat. So we've got a Random Vortex, we've got a Screech, we've got a Belshen, we've got the Alchemist again. John Guy, I don't know if I caught you earlier, but what's up, dude? And what's up, Loud Lungs? Alchemist, I see what you're saying here. Or break it into different techniques. So have hand painting entries separate from airbrushing, scribing versus no scribing.
That's a bit
Yeah,
because like
yes
you
and
can be
no.
a pro hand painter, So
And
and
yeah, I don't want
if
to
we
say
have
anything. So,
if we have too many categories, and it's like everybody just wins first place in that category, So that I don't think it will be ideal to break down into too many. I think they just
but
start
what?
off with 2, and I think the ideal maybe down the line, like maybe next year we have like 3 categories. Maybe
But
even
as
like
usual,
in
we
2
got
years' time we have like age categories, just like GBWC. So we'll see how it looks.
exactly. And
Mm.
now we got Screech being the Democrat as always, which I appreciate. Can always have a discussion thread in the community feedback chat.
Yeah.
Yes, and I actually think we might do that as
Yeah.
a round
Yeah,
table
yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, of course.
As opposed to it just being a forum, and then we can iron out the
Yeah.
details later.
Yeah.
Okay, so
With that
another
said, I think
thing,
we've got enough people. Sorry.
I think we've got enough people for a show. I think also just something I want to just kind of throw out there, and this is kind of important. Jeff and I have spoken about the criteria and everything. I want to, and this is now officially the episode. The quality of these builds is very high, okay? And Jeff and I had to be like super anal retentive about our judging. And we want you to know that in some cases, there have been photographs that haven't been as high resolution as we would have liked. And that would have pushed certain entries a bit higher. So you're going to see 1 or 2 builds where you're going to be like, this is amazing. And maybe it didn't score as high as you thought it would. I know that when I saw the judging results afterwards, after all of our numbers went in, I was like, wow. So just bear in mind, and that had a lot to do, Jeff and I also discussed that had a lot to do with the quality of the images, the resolution. I mean, we zoom into these things because we need to see if decals or whatever is done well. So please don't
guys,
think that
like
we're being hits.
So remember, there's like 4 pillars that goes into the final scoring. It's your build quality, your painting, your creativity, and presentation, which your photography goes into presentation. So when some of you guys like submitted photos that's like 1,000 or like below 2,000 pixels, we double click and we're trying to zoom in, but then like it's just bunch of pixels and we can't really see. So really, to the guys who have submitted like photos that's above 3,000 or even like 6,000 pixels, really thank you for that.
Yeah, it helped you a lot. And also something that's also quite important with that is we then also see the need to have a competition where we have the model kits in front of us.
Yes, yeah.
But obviously we can't just ask you guys to like build a kit and now come fly up to Joburg because that's almost impossible. But if it was something like a huge quote unquote national championship, then maybe we could expect people to do that. Or
in
Jeff
future
and I
we can do
fly
that
down,
like
whatever.
maybe a Comic-Con or something, if people are coming up for event. Maybe not this Comic-Con, maybe the next one, but that's definitely something will be cool to have.
And also, so the struggle is real. So when you guys see some of these builds, you will see what Jeff and I went through. You will see the tears of time, as they say in Zeta Gundam, because wow, cool. And without further ado, drum roll, please, Jeff.
Let's show off. Let's do a showcase.
Gundam Universe BuildOff competition. Okay. None of these are your builds, so everybody can relax. even this clown has got a mold line in his very nicely painted Lifrith Thorn in Titan's colors. And look at this guy. He even missed like there's a whoopsie here or two. That's not withering. That's a whoopsie. Anyway, moving right along now.
Let's speed through this document.
Okay, contents, competition rules, the timeline, entering, starting, build, finishing, blah blah blah. If you've entered this competition, you know these things. Jeff's going to speak to them. We had a theme. It was called the BuildOff is Gundam Universe. Basically, anything that exists in the Gundam universe. So if it's like Jeff put some examples here, Gundam Barbatos in Titan's color, Digimon Dukemon painted as Gian, Ultraman with the character Shah Aznavour's colors. Ironically, we didn't see any of those. I'm a little bit sad that we didn't, but c'est la vie. We also didn't allow any 3D printed parts for this. Mostly because then it's not accessible to everyone. Although in the next competition we may even allow that or have a section for that. We'll see. Dioramas are a bonus. Each entry will be built by one builder. I would still like to see that change in the future, but we will get into that later with our discussion that we'll have on the Discord. Each builder is allowed to enter more than one kit. Each kit counts as one entry. So you guys could have built more than one. Builders entering will consent to their photos being used by Gunpla SA for marketing purposes. Check out our OnlyFans where we show off everybody's Gundam.
Yeah, we don't need to read too much. But yeah, speaking about for marketing purpose, that's also another reason why we want you guys to send like your images to be at least 3,000 pixels. Like one thing is to help us judging, so we can zoom in really, go anal on it. But the second reason so that, maybe in future we want to print like a poster of it, at least it's high res. So, yeah.
Yeah. So also we just had a timeline. So just so you guys know, that we gave you guys a lot of details for this competition. We even showed the finished builds from the last comp. This was the winner.
There's like some reference on how to take the photos and stuff. Yeah.
We gave you an idea of what the judging criteria would have been. And of course, I'm only saying this because there are people that are going to watch this that are not in South Africa or are not part of the Build Force yet, and we want them to know where we're coming from. I'd also just like to give Jeff a shout out. The design here is great, dude. Really dig it.
Thank you.
But now we got BuildOff in trees.
Yeah.
Trees.
So I think before we start, just to recap, so we had like 20 people when the entry date closed. For entering the competition, we had like 20 entries, and for the finished submissions, we had 9. So, it's a bit unfortunate, but like things happened in people's lives, So
life
happens. Whether it's obviously just time work, not in your favor. Like maybe it's from your lack of experience, like, it's your first time doing your competition and you thought, something would have taken like overnight or over a weekend. It's like double or triple the time, or something, a tool of you or yours broke, or paint didn't come out the way you envisioned it. Maybe it came out like too splotchy, or, or weather working against you, or ESCOM, with load shedding working against you. It's just like lots of factors come into play. So, don't get discouraged. For the people that have finished, really, big ups to you guys. But for the people that couldn't finish in time, I hope you guys will still like push through and finish it and show us at build meets or show us on Discord or whatever. We would love to see. But obviously going forward in the next competition that you enter, at least then okay, you need to start early.
Space Stassi.
Don't call people. Sorry, not calling you out.
In the house.
Hey, Space Stassi, how's it going? And I see Victor asking a question. Hopefully you guys in the chat can help him.
Hook him up. And also, just to add to what Jeff was saying, everybody that did into the competition here, you're going to feel naked and exposed, and I'm sorry. Jeff and I will obviously do the best that we can to address your builds with respect and address you guys with respect. We don't want to say anything that's going to, like, quote unquote, hurt your feelings.
But we just want to better,
Yeah. So Jeff and I will do. Yeah. Exactly. We're definitely going to give examples of how you could fix this going forward in future. What is the solution to fix this? That kind of thing. We want to build you guys. Building joy as part of that. And so if we do say something, please, you're going to take it personally, and I totally understand that. But take it and, use it and let it empower you. Don't let it take you down, okay? Because there are some good builds here, and some silly things happened, I can see. So cool. Anyway, with that,
okay, you gotta battle people up before you give them the spank.
No, wow, that's scary, Jeff. You can't say things like that. So I want to say that this build has the distinct honor of changing my opinion on a kit that I used to absolutely hate. Because when I saw this, I was like, oh my word, this is actually so cool. And yeah, I just changed my opinion of this kit because I really hate this kit. I'm not gonna. I've told you guys if I don't like something, I'll tell you. And I love this build. The builder did such a great job here. I just hate what Bandai did initially. And you know who knew that all it took to make this better was to add some cool sleeves, insignia, and throw on a little bit of cool looking decals, and there you go. And now it's awesome.
With this build, so we're not going to say who the builder is, but he entered our first competition and also the second one. He entered both the 30 minutes missions and Gundam Artifact, and he's got so much improvement already, like in terms of his build quality, the paint job, the creativity, and his presentations have all improved. So that's like already
major.
Take that as a win. So
those are all wins. This has always been a questionable attachment from the kit's design for me. This yellow stream, but the builder owned it. As Jeff said,
having fun with it.
So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to show you what, and this is the thing, guys. It's going to sound like it's nitpicky, but it's not. I just want to show you guys some of the things that did hurt this build. And obviously, we're only going to announce all the winners at the end. So, yeah. So you'll see. Okay. So for me on this build specifically, the mold lines here on these tubes, I always feel like if somebody can get them done and nailed, you've put in a lot of effort and you've been very hardcore about it. Because I know how irritating and how difficult it is to stand those mold lines. Also, you immediately get points from me if you get that right. So that's something I did notice. I didn't mean to notice it as the first thing. It's just it's something I always look at first whenever I see pipes like this on a build. Another thing that knocked it down for me was there's a little bit of paint inconsistency in the and it could also be the photos, but I noticed it specifically here on the gun. So you got this great solid paint scheme for everything else that's going on here, and here it's a little bit thin. And I think this could have just benefited from just being masked off and then just resprayed a few times. Because and the thing is, this really stands out compared to how beautifully the detail is done on the gun and on other elements of the kit. Jeff,
I think it's just like my analogy will be like, it's a beautiful dish, like it's photogenic and all that, and you have like a little fly on the plate, on the and just it's distracting. It takes away from the rest of the dish. So it's just those minor things.
But now, a small thing. Take it or leave it. I purposely didn't knock points down from this kit for this, but
flags,
antenna flags. I would say if you're going to enter a kit into a competition, it's better not to have them on than to have them on. But I didn't knock them down because my whole stance on it has always been like, do what you feel is right with them. I know on international level, they will basically immediately, if they see page flags, they will consider you a beginner builder. So, but you do that how you want to do. I'm not so hectic about it. But I also want to talk about
we do want to train people to get to the international levels, GBWC and all that. So I think it'll be good. Yeah.
Also, and before we move on, I do want to quickly just mention the positives because we've mentioned some of the little nitpicky things, so that we can save the best for last. So the cool stuff I really love here.
I still want to nitpick. Yeah, Jonathan, but go with your.
No, if you want to nitpick, go for it, because then I will save the positive comments for after that.
Okay, right. Yeah. So, Paul, maybe you can zoom into the top of a rifle there with this first image. So, like what Paul mentioned, like it looks like on the gun, the red was missing a few coats or something. Like you can see the white showing through underneath. So I don't know what happened there. And then let me just check my notes here. So it's very brave of you to scratch build the sleeve details. And obviously I know you use Cricut to achieve those insignia. So you are using some kind of a edge to your tool sets. But what I do want to mention is like the edges look a bit harsh, as if they're
they
just
need to
like
be
straight
deburred.
cut from the Cricut. So you just want to burr it down a little with like sanding sponge or sandpaper, just so it looks consistent with the rest of your kit's hard edges. Because when you have the insignia so sharp on the edge that it's like burring out, and the rest of the kit is like kind of toned down a bit with like a bit of a sea surface on the corners, it's doesn't look consistent, and just it's straight out and jumps out, and it's like, okay, there's something unrefined here. And then I just want to point out, like, there's some minor textures on the arm, like on the red, like especially on the shoulder pauldron armors.
Oh
I
yeah,
can
I
really
saw a
see
bit of
that
it
there's some
here,
textures, yeah. And
and I
then
saw some
also
of it.
the painting around the sleeve details, like the red and the gold. There's a bit of like messiness. I don't know if you did like reverse wash and some of the black didn't get erased, with thinner or something. So and then my last thing is in terms of presentation. So that would be poses. Look, it's a personal preference now of mine, but I personally prefer when kits are posed in such a way where they feel they are more
Big.
realistic and they have more weight. So a lot of these poses that I see here, they feel kind of like figurines or toy-like. But like sometimes, like especially if you look at the third image on the right with the shield like propped up with the arm and the rifle like there and then pop like that. It doesn't feel like this thing weighs like 40 tons, because if a gun weighs 5 tons on its own or 10 tons, even though this giant robot has like lots of like strength to like hold it, generally they will like be more natural, bring down your arm, bring down your elbows, and like the shield, if instead of extending it out, just like make it more natural feeling, so that there's a sense of gravity and like lots of weight working against, even though this thing could be a space unit, whatever, but just the usual, like if you just copy like poses from boxes and from like photos online, or images online, you'll see like the poses feel like they feel like a giant robot, whereas here they kind of feel like they are posed like a miniature toy that weighs like a few grams.
Cool.
That's
Yeah,
my
I share Jeff's sentiments on that. But I personally look more for a strong silhouette, and that's why I really like this
that as
pose
well.
quite a
Yeah.
lot. And I love this first pose because I love the camera being below the machine, and I also the shield pose, except for this arm having such a strong 90-degree. I actually like a lot of it as well. So yeah, so that was a cool
Yeah.
thing. Can
So
I can I
yeah.
can I mention?
So
Are you
sorry,
done with
I just
your?
want to no. I just want to add to you saying strong silhouette. I think we go really anal on the first entry, and then like we'll just say, oh,
Yeah,
in the
shame.
next entry you'll just say, oh, we said this before, kind of thing. But yeah, we just like what Paul was saying, a strong silhouette that goes with your composition with your photos as well. So if I go back to the third photo, where with the propping up of the shield and the rifle, the head is like dead center. There's lots of like negative space like above the head, where I feel like it's a bit unnecessary. Maybe like bring that down the camera, or just like think about your camera placements, like your angles, and also the composition, where things sit within the camera. Yeah. So it's a very
So, are you good with those
yeah.
things? Can I move on to
Yeah.
the positives here?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
these listen, I'm an ambassador for cricket. I very much advocate the use of cricket in your builds because it's something I'm trying to, for lack of better words, pioneer. So I love that this builder used these. They look great. Also very brave and very bold to put them in there. So I'm so glad to see it. They literally made this kit's design so much better for me. In fact, I really like a lot of the design and everything in this kit. The kit bash here, you've actually, a dear builder, you know who you are. You've got me kind of considering buying one of these now, which I know it doesn't take a lot to make me buy a model kit, but I really did not like this thing out of the box initially. So the fact that you've convinced me to look into getting one is high praise. Hold on. Damn you, frog. Okay, next thing I want to say is gold is really difficult. And even though there are one or two whoopsies here and there, the gold is cool for the most part. Decals also came out nicely as well. I do see a little bit of wrinkling, but thankfully no frosting, which is really nice to see. And frosting can be avoided by doing a gloss coat first and then putting the decals over the gloss coat. And so, and I can see on the finish, even though in some cases the paint might have been too thick in some spaces, I can see the finish of this kit is very nice. And that a lot of consideration went into that. I also loved the fact that you painted the chrome on the hydraulics here. I also love the concept of the decals, your like design for the decals. The 93, I would have pushed a little bit away from the edge. Just a bit of a design tip, but you don't ever really want things touching
just a bit
the
of
edge.
padding, you know, breathing space.
So you want like a little bit of a space between something. And I mean, the panel lining is subtle in that I can see it's been panel lined, but it's not like panel lined that it looks like anime art, you know, like it's not heavy black lines. Paint choices here, design choices here on the face to separate the face panels. I liked a lot of that. I would have maybe done something to the chin, given it the same color as the arms, the shoulder portions. Maybe that's me. What Jeff said about just deburring any kind of styrene stuff that you put on your builds, even if you cut it by hand, you should deburr it a little bit. Let's just give it a soft sand. And I think without laboring on this for too long, I really want to move to the next one. But yeah, for the most part, thank you. I like this build. And
looking forward to your next entry, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And also excited to see what people think. Jeff, I want to check something. This shield with the Z on it, that's scratch built, right? That's
that Z looks
shield.
Well, that Z looks like it's from the original kit, which is called what do they call this thing? It's a Build Fighters kit. But I think that Z was from
because
the kit,
when I was marking this kit, I was like, this is great scratch building. Because I couldn't because I don't remember seeing a shield this cool in the original. And so that's major kudos. Like I really like that. So nicely done.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I think that shield is from the High New, because he did kit bash the High New with this.
No, that's a Solange Stein shield. I'm pretty sure of it. Anyway, doesn't matter. It looks good. Yes, yeah. Okay.
The base kit is
got
the new Xeon,
the new Xeon. So also these turnaround shots are so much nicer than this builder's previous entry as well. So nicely done. Like really cool. Okay.
Sorry, go back a bit. I just want to make one last comment with the like I always go back to the word consistency. So you see how this back shot is a bit smaller compared to the rest. I understand it's because of the funnels. You know, he wants to fit everything in frame, but like you see these shots, I don't manipulate them. So I throw them into this document just to show people like this is how it is raw. So what I want to see maybe perhaps in future is like whatever photos you take and you submit, or even do some cropping of your own before you submit it. It's like make sure all the photos, like especially these orthographic views, keep them in consistent size. So you don't have like 3 big pictures and the back one is a bit smaller, you know, just for presentation's sake of things.
Cool.
Yeah. And also if you're using this also applies for lots of guys who's taking photos on the photo box or light box. Try and get rid of as much noise in the back. Like I don't want to see that little hole on the ground there. Either put your subject matter closer to the background so I don't see the edges of the photo booth, and also use that I wouldn't recommend using the backdrop that came with the photo booth, because I also have this photo box, and the reason why is because it has some minor texture. If Paul was zooming in and it saw a bit of that texture, that those porous like textile texture. Sorry, I'm being a bit anal. So I'd rather prefer people just
Really?
buy like a A3 white piece of paper and use that as the backdrop. Yeah.
There's that, yeah, and also there's camera settings you can do to blur out your backgrounds. I think you can
Because
set your.
you know the reason why I really want to be anal about these is because with these photos is that I want you guys to imagine what happens if your photo is like, let's say you won a competition and we use your photo in our magazine or something to show it off to Japan.
That we have a magazine.
You know,
But
yeah, but like, you know, if Bandai saw your photo or if it's in a magazine like a hobby model kit magazine, imagine your piece in their magazine. How would you present? How would you take your photo, and what would be the background? You know, take that into consideration because that affects the score as well. Yeah, cool.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
Yeah,
Aerial rebuild. I started on the last one, so Jeff, I'll let you get your words out for this one, and I'll follow up.
So yeah, first thing, positive thing is that this paint job is awesome. It's I love the permit score crystals, whatever they're called. They are not. There's a bit of like customization there. Like there's a bit of, how would you call it? Like crystallization.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he used
I think it's applied onto the inside. Yeah,
it looks cool.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So now the posing is quite solid, especially that one with the shield and you can see that this builder has used references, whether it's from the anime or from the side of a box or whatever. The poses are quite like on point. It's just such a shame that there's all that noise in the background. There's like the bark on that tree on the background, and there's like a piece of gate, like a black gate behind. It's like, and then the bottom of that one has like a cardboard box placed on it, and yeah, so it's very unfortunate. Like if you don't know where to put your model kits for photographs, just put whether it's like a white sheet of paper or a black sheet of paper. Like that's the simplest thing. You can't go wrong with that, yeah.
What I would suggest to this builder is with this shot here with the box at the bottom. I love it. I love the shot. The composition of the shot is great, and I like the pose of the mobile suit. But if you just put a black tablecloth over that box, everything else would have been perfect. For me, anyway, in my eyes, that would have been your strongest shot out of all of them. With this one as well, if you wanted to, you could always be a bit sneaky. The background texture of the gate doesn't personally bug me, but being able to see the grass and stuff underneath the gate, that immediately makes me feel like I'm looking at a model kit, which is killing your illusion, because your pose is also really, really great here. Also, a small trick for you guys as well is called the windmill effect. So you'll see there's a lot of light here, and there's a dark area and a dark area. And then if you kind of squint, and I'm going to bring it up a bit bigger, if you kind of squint, you can kind of see the brightness here and the brightness on the kit itself are very similar. So it kind of creates a single shape. And this is not a criticism for the builder. This is just interesting for you guys to know. When you guys are posing, try to get the background to be either lighter than your subject or darker than your subject, and make sure that your light is hitting your subject, even just a little bit off, so that it's not lighting up your background. Or rather, these are just baselines. Figure it out yourself to try and use your background to pop your subject out of it a bit. So that's the only thing I'd say here. So reflective surfaces can be very tricky. That said, I'm just pointing that out just because it was interesting, not because it's something against the builder. I have to also agree with Jeff. The paint job on this kit is pretty freaking rad.
Yeah, and also the detail work and all that. The paint job is just awesome. Yeah,
I know. I know what my scores were for this. I really like the panel lining in a lot of respects is quite subtle, which is how I personally like it. And then the pre-shading is very hit or miss. You either do it well or you do it badly. I feel there's very little middle ground for pre-shading. So this guy, this builder, should I say, has good experience, has good knowledge of how to pre-shade. Or I'm going to say pre-shade because it feels like pre-shading, but it could even be post-shading. Either way, the finish is consistent and it looks cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like we don't care too much about like what technique you used and all that. We just look at the finished product and we judge it on
exactly.
that, Yeah.
Well, I mean, I look at the technique because I know
Yeah.
I'm generally quite nice. I will sort of think about. No, I'm not saying Jeff's not, but what I would say is I will consider how difficult, how easy the technique is to do.
Yeah.
And if you've pulled it off, and it was a difficult technique to do, then I'm impressed. If you pulled it off, if you haven't pulled it off, then I'm like, it happens. Jeff and I don't get it right every time either. We're not like the best builders in the world either.
Yeah, of course.
I think our knowledge, I think right now with us is all of us is you guys understand need to get this idea into your head of like the knowledge skill curve. And so what happens is your knowledge will get better faster than your skill. And so that's when you become it'll hit the point where your knowledge is so much better than your skill that you become incredibly self-critical. And that is actually when this kind of hobby or any kind of creative pursuit becomes very difficult, because now you have to find ways to get past that, to up your skill, and then you start getting addicted to improving yourself. So there's a lot of weirdness that can get in there with that. So always, that's why I try to have fun with everything that you do. Try to have fun. Sometimes just make it for the art of it. Competitions are competitions. You guys know that by entering a competition, it's going to be judged. But if you're doing it for yourself, you're also doing it for yourself. And that's cool. And you're having fun with it. That said, some critical points on this kit. And guys, we had to be this anal because, I mean, look at the quality of just this build and the build before it. So this immediately grabbed my attention. You guys might not see it, but there's a nut mark. Okay. A nut mark like this on such a beautifully painted kit is like being punched in the face sometimes. At least for me.
I was gonna say kicked in the balls. Sorry, can you hold that zoom?
But nobody can see your balls when they've been kicked. People can see the bruise on your face. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
So zoom back in again on those gun bits parts on the shield.
Yeah.
You see on the shield bits.
On the shield bits. Oh, sorry, man. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some wrinkling. I don't know. Did you apply the sticker or something? Is that wrinkling there, or what is happening there? I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So yeah, I also had trouble with this. I gave the builder the benefit of the doubt in this case.
Yeah.
In that it's just light refracting off sort of an aurora film or something that's in there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that if we saw this in person, it would look insanely. It probably would look pretty good.
Please bring it to us in person or send us more photos or whatever. But like I said before, when you submit your photos, please submit as high. Like if your phone's camera is like really like 5 years old or whatever, low res, grab your friends, grab your partner's phone or somebody who has a better camera and just like. It will only do you benefits if you can submit like higher resolution images so that we can see it better,
Yeah, even also, guys, a lot of phones these days can shoot. I'm gonna quotation marks here. Can shoot raw. In other words, they just shoot a format that you can manipulate in professional photo editing software, and even that would like be awesome for us to look at. So this is why I'm starting to feel that we're going to need to look at different categories, because this builder's paint skill is phenomenal, but they didn't fix the seams here on the knees. Granted, it's not an easy seam to fix, but that's one of the few seams on the aerial that, if fixed, it would have really elevated this build to stratospheric heights.
I kind of feel like if you can paint this well, then you should have your basics,
But you see,
so obviously the painter just painted this kit. He didn't want to put in that effort of removing seam lines and nub marks. So if you don't want to do that, then you will be scored, like how we score for everybody else. So unfortunately, you will get a bit lower score on the build quality. So. Yeah.
Again, benefit of the doubt here. I know in Asia, and there's a lot of Japanese and Korean builders I follow, and some actually are like, they purposefully say they are not good builders. They like the painting side of the kit, and they have one stuff they have one competitions based on their painting, but they would never enter a competition based on for both because they know that they wouldn't do so well. So I have encountered that. That's why Jeff and I are looking at other sort of things because I know sometimes you just want to paint something and you don't want to go through the labor of having to fix themes and all that kind of stuff. That said, I do want to mention this, and this is kind of important, and I think the turnaround is in the next shot. Okay, so aerial rebuild has some very annoying seams, and the best way, one of the quickest ways to get rid of seams, instead of if you can't seal them, like in this case, this is a very difficult seam to seal. If you can't seal it, then what I would suggest you do is you lean into it hard by chamfering the edges, giving it like,
and you make it like a deliberate panel.
Yes. So you kind of give it an angle as opposed to just being a hard 90-degree edge. You just lift it up, or you just scrape it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because then
it also doesn't help. Yeah. It also doesn't help that you put a decal across the seam. So now our attention, because like decals draws attention. If you didn't put like your decals behind the thigh and also on the back thruster, then I'll probably like I might have missed those seams. But because you put decals there, that's how shit the decals over a seam.
Otherwise, like also this builder, I love the color schemes. I like the color choices. I like the quality of the paint job. The photos, I just wish were higher resolution. I mean, I don't personally have a problem with the noisiness of this as much. I mean, it does bug me a little, but I don't have so much of an issue with that as I have an issue with just the resolution of the shots. But listen, we don't all have great cameras. Jeff did say, maybe reach out to a friend. I'm starting to think that maybe even
steal somebody else's
camera, or maybe we let you guys come in for a photo shoot and you guys take good photos or something on our side. And yeah, once again, mold lines are a big thing for me. And nub marks and mold lines, I can sort of live without the seams being fixed, but the mold lines and nub marks, I kind of feel like if you're a painter, those are two things you want to kind of
fundamentals,
fundamentals. It just takes away from your paint job. Yeah.
And look, if you're building for yourself and all that, it's for fun. You don't have to. But if you're entering into a competition, then it's like if you're scoring everybody else on their build quality, you have to be scored at the same criteria as well. So
anyway, we've got a lot of these to get through. So Jeff, do you have any last things to say about this aerial?
No. Otherwise, maybe in these orthographic shots, your posing here is still quite important. So the side shots, from the front and back, they look decent, but from the side, they look like they're doing a Michael Jackson. And they want to tip over a bit.
Yeah,
I do know, like obviously, it might be a bit back heavy, but then you can always bring in action base or press stick on the feet, because it's on the ground. Nobody's going to see it.
I'm just happy these had enough detail for me to be able to judge from. Because, yeah. And also, congratulations to this builder. You are helping to change my opinion of the aerial. But we'll see. Moving right along to the next one. We have Asmodee at home. I laughed when I saw these. I thought it was so like funny. And I also love that it's gray. These photos, guys, I'm sure many of you guys agree there in the chats. I'm pretty sure this hit you. Like you looked at this and you're like, oh, wow. And I'm pretty sure the two pictures that grabbed your attention is this one and that one. Because they're striking.
Presentation,
right? Yep. Very cool. I'm just going to start by saying, and I do want to get away from the money shots. I just want to get into the turnarounds quickly. The orthographics. So as you can see, this is a very clean build, which is not easy to do. Ask anybody who's trying to get a perfectly clean build. I'm somebody who likes getting clean builds, like as a test of my, I don't know, soul. I like to see if I can get a 100% clean build. With the irony being that once I've achieved that really good looking cleanliness on my build, I want to weather it. I'm weird like that. So I like that a lot. I like the color choices here as well. Very clever because it's the Asmodee done over a.
Yeah.
It's the Grays. What's this one? It's not
It's
the Grays Iron.
Julieta something. It's not the
Yes, the
Grey.
original.
But yeah, it's like a
Yes.
variant. Yeah.
So this is cool. Like, yeah, good. Like good color scheme, good finish. One or two whoopsies here and there. The one that you're probably sitting there going, "Oh my god, how did Paul find this?"
Yeah, so it's
These
like
little
some little
blemishes
paint
here.
blotches. Yeah, blemishes.
I know how much this sucks because you can do this whole color scheme and only see these when you're in the panel lining stage, and then you have to have a debate with yourself, like, "Am I gonna fix it, or do I start weathering this kit?" That I only noticed that because some of the panel lining here was coming off the sides; it wasn't wiped off fully. So yeah, that's just one little like that's a small thing that kind of bugs me a little bit there. I also noticed there and there.
He said in the chat top coat went bad, so that's what those blemishes are.
Okay,
but look,
well that happens.
It's a good learning lesson, right? So you learn from this, and then
You got to manage that stuff.
So one thing I really like about this build is not even the build. What I really liked is the thought process, like the synopsis that I copied into it and that I pasted in. That was like he had like 2 paragraphs. There's again, guys, like some of you type out way too much, and it's like, oh, it's a lot of reading. But I did read through it. I didn't show everything here, but what I do like is like you put a.
I didn't read it.
You didn't just thinking you didn't just apply your like how do I phrase this? Like you didn't just explain your thought process into your build, but you also created like your own story, a side story, how you came up with the reasons and the ideas behind this build. That was really cool. Obviously you guys can read it yourself on the side there, but yeah, that works like really well for you. For the guys who have like because that was part of an entry form. I say like, please type out your concept, your ideas, or story of your build. And some of you guys started typing like your processes, like saying, "Oh, I use these techniques and da 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 da." So that doesn't work for me. Like, well, at least for me, like I was asking for the
what you did.
I was asking for the concept and the story. I don't need to hear about like what techniques you use, that that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, like we just want to like know your reasons for choosing what you're building. Yeah. So
unless of course you painted it with like your nose or something, then I would like to know your technique. Like if you like send me this build and you say you painted it with your nose and you have photographic evidence of you doing so, or even better video evidence of you doing so, then I want to know. But the story is interesting for me. I didn't read the story for this. I just like that in my mind I just felt like whoever this is the pilot. Like this is what I got from the story was this is the pilot who would then get the Asmodee. And so this was their colors. And so when they got the Asmodee, they colored it that way. That's how I saw it in my head. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like Rumble Roll basically painting everything he pilots blue or Shah everything, Shah red and Shah dark red. But solid build.
Sorry, I just want to go back to like, for example, talking about the concept and all that. So if I use the last entry as example, the aerial rebuild, even though it's not like, even though it's canon and not like a creative, it's like, oh, what story do I come up with? You can still say, oh, I want to come up with a story saying, oh, maybe the permit score is going into like permit score 6 and that's lighting up. So it's still within the canon of the anime, but you can still create a story behind it, so it doesn't have to be like unique, creative, but whatever, but you can just like
sky's the limit. That's
something.
Up to you.
Yeah.
The photography on this is aces though. I really love the coloring here, the lighting, and also like
the poses. Speaking of the poses, it's really cool.
Exactly, the poses are good. I was talking about like that whole windmilling thing, and you can see it here. It's nice. These portions are brighter than the background. Even though these are duller, they are still brighter than that part of the background. That kind of thing is cool.
And there's midground, foreground, and background. You know,
Background,
the
yes.
foreground is Asmodee that's blurred out. So it's
Exactly.
engaging with like maybe the clear stand is slightly distracting. Look, it's not too much of an issue for me, but like if you did use like a black stand in that scenario, it would have been like even better, you know.
If you had used that clear stand on a diorama, it would have been more of an issue for me. Personally, I was gonna. The stand is pretty much invisible to me, but maybe that's just because I've been doing this. Jeff and I have been doing this for so long. We all have different ailments. Mine is I just don't see stands, or I do, or it's the only thing I see. I can't help myself. Anyway, this is a great build, and just a small reminder: when it comes to panel lining, guys, panel lining is when you've painted a kit, panel lining can be a brat, okay? And so you've got to learn. You will start learning to gloss coat your kits, and you'll start learning certain tricks and certain ways to get it right. And it's just one of those things that's part of your painting skill. It's like if your top coat went bad, shame. I've had top coat go bad on me. I know how to fix it. That's experience. And I've shared that knowledge with people on the Discord, but until you experience it yourself, you don't really know, you know? So that is part of the learning process. That is essentially the difference between like sort of a beginner and an advanced builder, is just how much shit the advanced builder has dealt with.
Okay. Paul, sorry, before we go into the, like, I just want to make one more comment about the last build. Just go one more back. So it's just one of the photos. So all these photos were so great, but that that one over there kind of it almost felt like somebody else took that photo because it didn't have. It almost feel like it didn't have the same style, didn't have the same thinking. Because like the first biggest difference is the backdrop is like white, completely contrast to the other ones. Again, it's a whole consistency, right? Like if you're trying to create a story, the scenario, and that means you want to keep things consistent unless there's a reason not to. So I can't think of a reason why you chose a white backdrop compared to just keep using with the black. And also the subject matter, like the build entry that you submitted is not in focus. The Asmodee became the subject matter, which is kind of odd because we want to see we actually don't care about the acting. What's it? The supporting actors. We don't care about Asmodee here. So we would have loved to see your build in focus and maybe bigger. And that white backdrop, maybe just change it to back to the black or something.
Yeah. Also, you see how intimate this zoom is here. I feel like I'm mansplaining when I say this, purely because the photographer who did these shots is actually very good, or I feel that they're very good. So telling them to have composed the shot more like this feels like I'm mansplaining to them. I think you know better. Whoever built this, you know better. You should have had you should have at least, if anything, tightened up your shot like this. But that's like the most critical thing I will say about that, because it's such an easy thing to fix because you clearly have the skill level to do it. Moving right along, can we, Jeff? Can we move to the next Gundam?
Go along. I do want to read his chat though. So the Alchemist says, I tried to get the wire in the shot. The black wasn't working. You're talking about the black backdrop. So maybe in that case, what you can do is bring in a light so it will shine the highlight over the black wire, so we can kind of see a faint idea that there's a wire there. Or the other option is to paint your wire, like paint it like a gray, for example, so that it's still it's dark, but you can still see it on a black backdrop.
Okay, so let's not take too much away from this build. Okay, so where do I start? I was very impressed with this. I will be honest, I wasn't impressed when I saw the small pictures. Like when I saw them small initially in the folder, and then this one here in particular, this shot here, grabbed my attention. I was like, wait, hold on. I'm seeing a small shot, and I can clearly see different color zones. And then I looked, I looked at this properly, and I actually purposely want to use the shot that made me fall in love with this build. So, for those of you who don't know, a lot of these panel lines do not exist on the original kit. Okay,
Yeah,
this
it's all
is
scribed.
it's all scribed in by the builder. So that got my respect immediately. The second thing, the thing that got my respect before I saw the panel lines, was how clean the paint job is. That and now that some of you guys have built and entered this competition, you guys know how difficult it is to get a consistently smooth paint job. And wow. And also look at the finish. The glass, that semi-gloss, is looking really good. There's a lot of greatness that went into this. And it's not even my favorite color scheme. I know who the builder is on this in this case. I really hate the color scheme, dude. But that's got nothing to do with it because it's so well done that it's got nothing to do with whether I like the green or not, because it looks so good. It's the right green. It's the right off-white. It's good. It's a good build. I'm very happy with this. I'm very pleased with this, which is also why I had to be like super anal retentive when I was judging it, because you have to kill your darlings, unfortunately. Yeah, so Jeff, I can feel you want to say the things.
So obviously it's not a complicated like paint job or color scheme, but like it's lots of the stuff is basics, like basic skills, but it's very well executed. It's like all the basics, you've hit it like 10 out of 10, that kind of thing. So it's very consistent, it's well executed, and yeah, that helps you. Yeah.
It helps a lot. I also love the design here. Like, guys, panel lining. Panel lining is such a difficult skill, and it's a difficult skill for two reasons. The first one is actually executing it correctly. Okay, like getting it to look good and consistent, to make it feel like it was initially part of the kit's design. That's a very difficult thing to do. And I'll tell you now, in all fairness, I've been doing this for a long time. When I get it right, I feel very happy, and that doesn't happen often. That I feel like I get my panel lining looking good. So when I see panel lining like this on somebody's first kit ever, I'm impressed. Like, I'm like, cool. It's inspiring to me. I go, okay, cool. I want to ask this builder what they did and how they got this right, and that's the thing. It's inspiring. And then the second thing with panel lining is any old tool can go and scribe a line in plastic and do it well. Well, not anybody, but once you've managed to learn how to actually scribe a line into plastic, you got to design it well. And
yeah,
the only design I don't like on the scribing here is this diamond shape on the shield.
because you don't see it anywhere else on the suit here.
And that's like literally the only issue I have with the panel line design, because otherwise it's all good. It's really good. And then I had to
once you've got the skills to do something, the next thing is to like learn why to do something.
Exactly.
And that's where the design comes into play.
And also, this finish on this paint is so great. So this is called a sinkhole, okay, or a warp or whatever. This is in the plastic, okay, because unfortunately nothing in life is perfect except for life itself. Anyway, so you have to sand these out or fill them in with putty and then sand them. That's a very tedious and laborious thing to do. It bugs the hell out of me to do it, but I have had to do it, and it's one of my biggest issues with the Estalev kit is that it's got a few of these. But when your paint job is so good that the light hitting off it looks that the glass is so well done, this is when you start realizing why sinkholes suck, because they mess with the beautiful paint job that you've just done. So, builder, I know you're here, and I know you're listening to me. Keep an eye open for those when you're building. And my advice to you is if you do find them, put some black marker over them and sand until that black marker goes away. Because otherwise, I love this. I'm gonna, I don't want to say anything about the green because I know you guys know. You can tell I don't like the green, but I also like the whole a stray green frame field behind this, and I kind of feel like if the builder had put like Discem decals on it, it would have been interesting, like a Discem exclusive, kind of that give it that kind of feel. This is not said to be insulting. This is said because we get the 7-Eleven and whatever, and I'm like, wow, you've actually for the first time shown me a South African brand in the Gundam form, and I've gone, that could be pretty cool. But yeah, man, beautiful. Jeff, I'm sure you want to take it home.
Yeah. So my comments is more on like presentation again. So I felt it's almost like the camera was scared of this model kit or something. Go closer, go closer, and maybe even go like shoot
Lower.
from lower angle upwards, so that it feels bigger and feels less like a toy, and feels like more like a giant robot. Just a bit.
Here's
Like
a composition.
certain photos, and also like
Yeah.
some shots. For example, if you go zoom out a little bit, that middle one there at the top. Yeah.
The cool this money shot.
Yeah. I would have
love this
loved to
shot.
see a bit. I would have loved to see a bit of the eyes, like just a bit of that yellow in the eyes. So if you just angle like, it just looks like you're standing up and you took the photo like aiming down. If you just like got down on its level and shot it slightly up, or just like slightly changing your camera angles or something, yeah, it would have been much a stronger composition. Yeah.
Green frame.
But yeah, otherwise, get closer with your shot.
Even this shot, you could get a shot like this off as well, which would look quite cool.
Yeah. But what I'm really thankful for is that your photos, they were like 6,000 pixel resolution. So at least
I could see into the future.
so you won't see, like, for these photos that you see here is purely just slapped into the frame. But later on, when I it's I can crop it a bit better because it's such high resolution, so it works in your favor. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So for this builder, what can you do on your next one when you're building? I would like to see you challenge yourself on your next kit. When I say challenge yourself, you did challenge yourself here, but look at the skill that you've acquired from doing this. I'd love to see you do a slightly more complex build. So something like like if we have to stay in the seed line, I mean something like a Justice or a Freedom, or something like that has a lot more moving parts, a lot more craziness going for it. Just that's what I would like to see you do, is challenge yourself with that kind of build, and and then just keep building on the skills that you already have here, one step at a time, because it's great. Also, just want to also mention that this builder, their decals, I think these are actually stickers. I don't know if they're water slides. I want to believe they're water slides, but they're quite shiny, and sometimes that happens because of the gloss coat. This is not a mistake. Just they're nicely done. The finish is pretty good. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Full frontal. Yeah. Wow.
So the paint job is really well done.
Yeah, candy coats are not for sissies, eh? They are not easy to do. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry, I've got to get the fangs out quite quickly here because I need to move through these. But unfortunately, your reverse wash technique is not as strong as your candy coat technique. So that did hurt you a little bit, unfortunately. In future, if you do find you're doing that, lean into it then and own it. Actually, just start getting, like, putting a bit of chipping in here. Guess who's annoyed with the mold lines on the pipe? I am, because it's a difficult thing to fix, but once you do it, it gives you major kudos. Reverse wash on here, looking good. This little mold line here, I know this kit. I know this mold line. It is very irritating. Yeah. So, guys, just going forward, any advice? This is my advice for mold lines. If you had to imagine that you're going to dry brush this kit, not that you're going to, But if you can imagine that that you would dry brush the kit, the dry brush would pick up on these mold lines.
Yeah, it's
and
gonna
it'll look
catch.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
So get rid of that. Also, this you did such a great job with the gold here, with the reverse washes and all this stuff for the most part, and you missed this
And that part
thruster.
is not gold. Yeah.
Yeah, little things like that are annoying.
Hmm.
Annoying because not because I'm like, oh, I'm so insulted. Annoying because look at this build; it's really beautiful, and then you got these like little things that are taking
It's just
away
the
from it,
minor things,
chipping
like
away at its beauty.
yeah, and also
And what
like
is this?
yeah, and
It's
also
a
it doesn't look
notebook.
like there's much. It
What?
also doesn't look like there's much panel lining. I don't see panel lining inked. See that scribe line is just
Yeah,
the candy coat, and then the vent details, the thrusters, they're just the gold without like there's no black or anything to panel line it.
yeah. So I feel
Yeah.
like I know these feels, Builder. I know these feels
Hmm.
because you've bought this kit. You've done this candy coat. You know it's for a competition. So you're cuck scared of doing any kind of panel lining or any kind of further inverse washing because as it is, you feel like you've cashed in all of your chips just to get what you've done right here. You know you'll never be able to win the lotto again because you've got an all God's luck here. But I promise you've learned so much from this that I really hope that you don't get scared and you do this again. Not a
Hmm.
Sananju, maybe another design, but that you are bold enough and brave enough to throw in some panel liner and stuff going forward. Because
Yeah.
panel, like, first thing, don't have nub marks if you have a metallic kit. It's the worst. Okay, it stands out badly. I can once again, when it comes to seams, I can forgive you for the seam on the leg. It's annoying. I know it's not easy to sort that seam out. I don't hurt, but mold lines on the fist here, nub marks on the knee here, especially when it looks like you managed to clean the one that was here. So I don't know. Look, mold lines
Hmm.
there. Those things are all contributing to hurting your kit. This is a wonderful one here as well. Boom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that and
lots
I
of
was
fun.
like, is that a scribe line or is that a mold line? Or yeah, I wasn't
If
sure.
memory serves, when I bought mine, this is a
Hmm.
mold line. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
but then again, because you haven't put panel liner in there and owned that, we can't tell.
Hmm.
But now I just want to mention the quick good stuff, and I think Jeff, then I'll give you a chance, and you can take the mic from me. Love this blue
Hmm.
shading on your thrusters, dude. Super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like really super cool. I'm inspired by that. I've never ever tried doing that, and I'm going to try it now because I've seen you do it, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, cool,
It's
very nicely
that
done.
burnt effect. Yeah.
Also, candy coat, cojones, dude, cojones. Like, not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do. So nice, and the photography here. I
Hmm.
love the create. I like the story in the photography. I feel like I don't know what it is, but it's just something very Japanese, a very samurai feeling about these
Hmm.
shots, and it could just be the dominance of the
It's
circular of the ring
the
light.
halo at the back or something.
But I love this shot. Jeff, you're
Hmm.
talking earlier about a shot in a magazine cover.
Yeah.
I could see this being a
So
great like blog or magazine
yeah.
cover.
So me too. I also feel like the posing. It's very strong. One thing about this shot though is I felt the beam saber push it in because it's
Yeah,
when you're trying to kill somebody with like if you welding a sword,
wielding
you
a
don't
real sword.
wielding
Yeah.
yeah wielding a weapon or bladed weapon, you don't hold it by, especially if it's like a long handle, you don't hold it at the end of the blade.
Mm.
Those of people who do sword fighting, they know you hold it by like closer to the base, because
Mhm.
there's more strength and there's more balance. Even though it's a beam saber, there's no weight to the beam, but it just feels a bit. It felt like you were scared that you were gonna chip your paint job, so you
Paint
didn't want to
job.
push it through. Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, also just a bit of a fun fact for those of you that have watched Star Wars, and I'm sure one or two of you may have seen the Star Wars. Star lightsabers in Star Wars actually have weight. And spoiler for the Mandalorian, when the Mando picks up the dark saber, it's actually too heavy for him to wield. It's got a weight to it.
But
Beam
I'm
Saber is
not
just a
talking about
similar thing.
the handle of the. I'm
I
talking
know.
about the beam effects. The beam effects don't have weight. Yeah.
No, that's
Or
true. But
any,
I'm just But
yeah.
what I'm trying to get at is consider that there is actually weight to this weapon, so that when you pose it in your Gundam's hands, in your mobile suit or the Gundam or whatever you're building, when you pose it in their hands, you've got that feeling that this sword has actually got more to it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like not realistic. I mean, if you think about it, maybe this machine doesn't feel the weight of a beam saber, but the human eye does. It feels that characterization. Anyway, lighting is also
And
pretty rad as well.
sorry, just to go back, like if you were scared of the beam saber paint job chipping, then maybe for the next project, take that into consideration. Like when you first build your kit without any like sanding and stuff, get a feel for all the parts. If there's any parts that's like kind of got lots of friction and really like tough, then okay, once I paint this part and parts come together, there's going to be friction and it's going to be paint chipping, and that means certain parts you probably just want to sand quite a bit more, like maybe that beam saber handle, sand a bit on that, so that once you've done your paint job, at least it won't be so tough to put in and won't scrape your paint job. Yeah.
Also, everybody who ever does a clear coat or a candy coat like this, or actually whatever base coat you do for your Gundam kit or your mobile suit, whatever, do it on a spoon. And I would even go as far as to say, do some panel lines on your spoon as well. So that when you've done all this coat and you do the panel liner, you can experiment and really mess up that spoon to see how much the paint job can take. That'll help you a lot. I had to learn this from doing an Iron Man commission for somebody a long time ago. I also used Tamiya's red and I did it over gold. And yeah, there were some issues with the panel liner that I learned about. So yeah, the spoon thing was definitely a savior.
Yeah.
On the turnarounds, there's something I do
whether
want
it's
to
on a
show.
spoon or like a leftover runner tags, you can use the tags on the runners for your testing. Yeah.
So some other I'm going to go through a bit of good and bad here. So some things that hurt this builder as well is in my photos that I had to look at, I couldn't tell from the resolution, but it feels like this gold is overshooting just a little bit.
So maybe the
masking here is a bitch. Panel lines here, okay, I'm not going to hit you too hard for that, but unfortunately,
I mean the seam line.
nub mark, the seam lines, sorry, panel lines, but the nub mark here that you can fix, that's even just even a little bit of putty. If you're going to put so much effort into put in a candy coat, use putty. Candy coats rely heavily on a very good surface, on a good foundation. Also, something that would have taken your kit to new heights is if you went in here in the insides and brush painted. Given it, maybe you could have made dark gray or something here on the insides. Like a dark gray or even a black to make a neutral space or whatever. But here it looks like a toy that hasn't been finished, that has been sprayed, and they're like, kids are not going to care about that. Let's not get in there. Dude, get in here. This is competition. Paint in there. Push yourself. Okay. Love the poses though. Love like the suspended.
Yeah, it's really creative that you use the what's it, a fishing rod?
Yeah, fishing line.
Fishing line?
Yeah,
to
fishing
get
guts
this
or whatever.
To get these shots. Yeah. It's just such a shame that the right side photo is bigger than the others. Again, it's all down to consistency thing. Just it's the minor, like if I'm being so critical about these minor things, then that means you've done so well for the other stuff, So yeah.
Actually, thank you for bringing that up, Jeff. Yeah, guys, we're not being critical here because we're trying to be dicks. We're being critical here because we have to be critical because you've done such a great job that we are entranced. Okay, I know that
you have last 10%. It's that last 10%.
Exactly. That's what wins the race. I mean, I know that you guys have spent hours building your kits. Now, remember that Jeff and I have also spent a few hours looking at this stuff. I mean, I've spent quite a few days mulling this over in my head, like Should this be an 8 or a 9? Should this be a 10? Should this be a 5 or a 6? That kind of stuff. It's been rough. It has not been easy, and I still don't know how this is going to turn out. But we get to the Moon Gundam, to the enhanced Moon Gundam. So I basically gave this like no points because I was jealous because this builder has a Moon Gundam. No, I'm kidding, man. I'll never be that much of a dick, or at least not on purpose. This is a non-painted build, but it has some paint on it.
Yeah,
And
it's not a fully painted build. Yeah.
yeah,
and it's all fun. Like everybody's obviously on their own build journey, and take it at your own pace. Like it's good that this painted didn't felt pressured to like say, oh, I need to repaint everything.
Yeah.
Kind of stay in your comfort zone and just experiment and have fun with it, which is what I can see in your entry. You had fun with it, even with the background, photo editing. You had fun with it. However, since currently we don't have different divisions, so I do need to judge you on the same criteria that I judge for everybody else. So so if you want to zoom in on the gold bits on the pauldrons,
you mean this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what happened there. Like, are you using like directly your Gundam marker on those parts, or did you use a paintbrush or something? Because it felt like to me as if you used just straight Gundam marker, and obviously paint overflowed, and then you couldn't control it. So what I would recommend, if that's the case, I would recommend using a paintbrush, like squeeze from your Gundam marker into like a paint tray or some kind of container, and just take your own paintbrush so that there's not a lot of like paint flowing out of control, so you can control the painting a bit better.
This kit is beautiful though. Yeah, to add what Jeff's saying, and then also if this does happen, some Google searches or some very good questions in the chats in our hobby help section would have helped you fix this. This is one of three things. You can use an earbud or Q-tip or whatever is dipped in some rubbing alcohol to take this off.
Or even just Gundam marker eraser. They
all the Gundam marker eraser.
They make those.
Yeah, you can be super safe. You can just use a little bit of masking tape on this piece here, and you can rub that off. Otherwise, you can just use your hobby knife and scrape it off very gently. Some people don't like that, but some people like to talk and never build. So, yeah. So,
what was a bit of a shame is that the yellow chest vents, you kept it as yellow, and I almost felt like it would have looked more coherent and consistent. Again, that whole consistent word. If you also painted that part gold, Yeah.
I know we're using your money shot here for this. I'm going to be a bit critical, and I'm actually going to get into the photography side here quite quickly. This is a problem as old as digital photo manipulation is. When you use a marquee or a magic wand or something to select the area around your kit, and you choose your similar color, you will invariably find ways to remove it off your image as well.
It became transparent.
It became a transparency. So it's kind of using some kind of what is the blitz camouflage called again? It's like that mirage colloid system or whatever. So yeah, and also if I was going to delete anything from this, I would have removed this stand here, because it does. When I said like I can't see the stands, or it's all I can see. This is all I can see. It's like somebody dropped their Gundam kit on Mars.
And not only that, it's also the white background of the action base. Can you see behind, like by the crotch?
Yeah, of course I can.
There's the black stand, and then there's the white background. So it's like, I would actually feel like these photos would have been strong. Like you see the one with the what you call it, the base. What do they call these things? The last one.
Oh, the hanger. Yeah,
the hanger.
This is such a nice
photo.
shot.
This photo is actually the strongest out of them all. like without the photo manipulation stuff. Because it's also the angle. You know, the lower angle just feels like it's really intimidating. It's like it's coming out the hanger, ready to rock and roll. You know, whereas the other ones, the photo editing actually became a distraction.
Yeah.
Mm.
So also don't try to get so like special effectsy on it. What you can actually do is just take this image, put it on your computer screen, or or your TV if you've got a nice big LED
Yeah.
TV, or
And you
if you have
take
an
a photo
LED
and then
TV.
it gets blurred out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just shoot in a bit of like a light. You can even ask a family member if you can use their cell phone, or a friend if you can just use their cell phone. Bounce some of that light off something so that the light is hitting the image, and hopefully you don't get reflection in the back. And boom, you don't have to do Photoshop. You're basically doing old school in-camera comping. So
Yeah.
and it can look
Okay.
very good.
Okay, I can
Anyway,
see a few comments from Jacques. So he said it was gold marker directly, and you just forgot to clean it up. And I think he says a bit of a rush last minute with the photography. And I say, don't even do any photo manipulation. Just keep it as is, because
as simple as you can.
just because we set in a rule saying, oh, you can use photo manipulation for like beam saber effects or to remove the action base, it doesn't mean you have to. And actually, sometimes doing that kind of photo manipulation will actually work against you. Is especially like these 4 shots here. Like again, if you said it was a bit rushed last minute, I would say don't even manipulate, because now I can see these 4 images. One's not manipulated, and I actually felt the one that's not manipulated, I could see the kit a bit better. Because if you look, if when I zoomed in to the 3 shots
the
that
edges,
had photo, the other 3 shots that had manipulation, it actually messed with the kit. You see, like the foot got
missing
manipulated
details.
there. So don't even manipulate it. Don't even.
And here, like you got like a merged detail here, and so it hurts the silhouette. It's don't, guys, don't do that. Just keep it simple. Just put a white piece of paper back behind it, light it up, shoot it from all 3 sides. It's front, back, side. It's
and like I mentioned with my previous comments for previous entries, so even if you put it into like a photo box or photo booth, just put like a white A3 white paper as the backdrop, so that it's nice and clean.
Otherwise, congratulations on finishing the build, dude. I like your pink panel lining, and I love the Moon Gundam. And I think your next build, your next entry is going to be phenomenal. So looking forward to that, because I can already see such great potential here as well. You've got grips of you managed to panel lining, you've got it nailed down. Cleaning your kit, removing nubs, you've got that down. I appreciate that kind of thing. It's awesome. So let's build on those.
The photos are great. I like the one that's like fighting against the Zaku. And speaking about the whole pink panel,
that is also my favorite shot, or second favorite shot.
Yeah. So I really like the pink panel lining on idea on the funnels. I think they're called funnels, right? Whatever.
It is technically a funnel,
yeah. I almost felt like it gave me the ideas like, oh, what if like you had pink, but not just like a flat pink in the panel lining, but what if you veer it up with like some black, white, pink? So it almost feels like there's a bit of flow.
Oh, like on ZOE.
Yeah. There's like a cyclone flow in the funnel, so it's not just all panel lines is all the same color.
Cool, Jeff. Can I go to the next one?
Yeah. Cool.
Demi Texan Harvard. Okay, so firstly, this first shot here, I think is very beautiful. It tells a very interesting story to me, but it's not telling me the story for Gundam. Okay, so I think this concept is very brave, to take a World War II fighter and then paint it up and give it some Gundam kind of finishes. And I want this builder to brace themselves, because I am going to get into this kit a bit, because I want to help you go forward and build better kits, because I recognize your skill and I recognize your passion. So I see you, dude. Okay.
Yeah, it's
First,
lots of bravery to take a, because like out of all the entries, this is the non-Gundam kit that was entered, so it takes a lot of bravery to take another type of kit and apply Gundam theme to it. So yeah, that was really cool. Which is like the Demi trainer, colors.
Yeah, so okay, so that's like, okay, I know that they've shown us some pictures here. Never, ever, 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 ever for a competition, ever, and I hope I'm making myself clear here, ever have press stick in your build to affix something to your kit. With the one exception of, if you're purposely trying to be ironic with your build and you want to do this in an artistic way and you can own it, do it. But you're not owning it here. Okay? As somebody who's judging your work, I'm seeing this as very sloppy, and I certainly wouldn't have taken a photo of it. This lining here, this panel lining here, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what I'm looking at.
The panel lining was a cement.
It could be glue. Yeah, it could be glue.
So those So those two shots that we see in the corner here, it almost feels like it's work in progress shots that you took, that you entered into the final.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't show us
Don't care.
We don't want to see work in progress photos. We want to see the final.
Nobody wants to see how a hot dog is made. They just want to eat it. Trust me, nobody wants to see how a hot dog is made.
If you want to share work in progress, you can do it outside of a competition, because once you submit these photos as your finished build, we are using them for judging. So yeah.
See, I love this shot so much because it's got this, it reminds me of when I was a kid and I was painting up planes and stuff like this, and it's got this real beautiful nostalgic quality to it, and it it screams of such a great cover for a movie, or you know what I mean? I can see Cannes Film Festival, Sundance Film Festival winner, the model plane. There's a lot of love and nostalgia in the shot. So I think
the lens glare and that's really
very cool. Beautiful photo.
I just felt the composition was it's only taking up it's at the very bottom of the frame.
It's very heavy. Yeah.
And the trees in the back felt a bit distracting. If it was only the sky with some clouds, that would have been such a powerful image.
Yeah, you would have sold the flying plane idea more. Personally, I like it being silhouetted on the background, but let's not get too lost in the woods with the photography.
Yeah.
Okay. So this shot, so lots of hand painting, lots of madness, lots of bravery going in here. It's difficult for me to have been as fair on this as I would like to be, but all I'm gonna say is when you're painting kits in the future, okay, if you want to hand painting and stuff like this, you need to learn to be more patient with yourself. I can see that you're very impatient, so you're kind of just sitting here and you're painting, and then you think it looks dry and you want to put your next coat on and you're pulling your coat, and that's why you're getting all of these kind of drags
texture
here. Yeah. For me, if I was painting up a plane like this, some of this, what you've done here, is kind of what I would have used as my under texture, and then sprayed over to have some of these textural elements come through in my final paint job. Because a lot of these planes were obviously, they had imperfections and stuff. So it looks kind of cool. It gives it this element to it. Also, just conceptually, I wouldn't have used the Demi trainer as my Gundam reference. I say this because, yes, it's very
recognizable.
Yeah. I saw this and I was like, are you trying to be a Zaku? But why the white? So that's my thing. Demi, I understand that Witch from Mercury is your Gundam, but the mistake you made here is not doing research. You should have done some more research into your concept by Googling Gundam, by trying to understand certain elements in the culture, because this is essentially a pop culture build. And I would have also sprung in for some Gundam decals that that you can now find locally.
Back in, yeah.
Just to tie it all back in. And I understand you have no Witch from Mercury decals, totally. And that's another thing I want to say. Had you done a little bit more research, you would have known that this is not as super recognizable and it's going to be very difficult to pull off with the demi body. That said, that's everything I really want to say. I scored this the best I could. I know that Jeff did as well, and I hope that I feel like out of everything that we've looked at, I may have come across as quite heavy on the critique for this, or criticism actually, to be fair. But I hope that doesn't discourage you, because you're at every single build meet. You're such a cool builder, and I'd really love to see more from you. And if it gives you any hope, my models used to look like this for a long time. So, I also had to learn a lot of skills and things like that growing up. And when I say,
look,
yeah, I was still young when I wasn't that young either. So
I think my first 5 builds, they were worse quality than this. So, yeah, big ups to you. And from what I remember, I think you said you used enamel paint as your base colors. So that's something I felt enamel is probably not an ideal medium for your base colors, because enamels takes a long time to cure. So that was slow. Like if you had like a year to do this, then sure, paint it with enamels. But time's against you. I would have used acrylics or lacquer-based paints. Enamels these days, enamels kind of reserved for panel lining or weathering. Because you apply like thin layers of enamel on for those type of applications. If you use enamels for your base coats, you're going to be waiting. I don't know how long you waited between coats, and then and now you have all these textures because it's building up. Look, I think my first few paint jobs were also done like with enamels with the
Tamiya. I use Tamiya and Humbrol.
And it took months to dry. Like they were tacky for like months. So I didn't even thin them. They were just like
I had
straight
like
from
a
the Humbrol.
Messerschmitt with fingerprints all over it. Because
and this was like my I think it was my second or first paint job, like a full-on painted kit in my high school days. So I was like, why the hell is this thing still stinky and tacky? Like it's still leaving fingerprints after weeks, and it took like months, probably even a year, before this thing was not tacky anymore. And during the time it was tacky, dust was clinging onto it, and I know the feeling. So
dropped it on the carpet, did moth on it.
So going forward, maybe consider not to use enamel for base coat applications unless you've got years. Otherwise, can we just go back to the previous slide again? I just want to go back to presentation. So that second image with the plane so small at the bottom, but behind it, there's a chair, and it's like, what is the chair doing there? Like, if you just turn around, like get the chair out of your shot, turn the plane, like I think even before you put the model kit down to take the shot, think about where you want to take the shot. Angle yourself and saying, okay, what is the background? Consider the background, and then put your model kit down, and then make sure the background is not like have true, like maybe even try and like, I don't know, go on top of a different building where there's no trees behind, because now it just doesn't look like a big, the sense of scale is broken now. So again, so try and imagine different scenarios, and if your photos was going to end up in a model kit magazine, how would you feel about it? Are you going to feel proud, or are you going to feel like, oh man, I should have taken a better photo?
But cool. Also, I guess what Jeff's just trying to say, and what I'm just trying to say, is that if you're still a young builder, we're very jealous because you've got many years to enjoy this hobby going forward. Cool. I want to throw in the next one. Bam. Bam. Yeah. Bam, bam, shabam. Jeff, you take it away. I'm gonna.
The photography here is very strong. The posing is very strong. That first image, if we want to zoom into it, just a little bit, I would have liked to see the focus on the face I know you're kind of trying to capture it's the shoulder binders, the arms, but most of the time when we look at when we're looking at photos of people or photos of creatures or whatever, or even cars, inhuman objects, we always like to, like, our eyes always tries to go to, like, where, yeah, our eyes always like to go to where the eyes are, where the car's lights are, where, yeah. So I felt the details on the shoulder things were the, like, focal point where I maybe would have liked to see it. Maybe just increase, not increase your aperture, decrease it. Is it? I can't even think of a term. Just,
Get
yeah,
the
increase it so we
f-stop,
can,
yeah.
yeah, the f-stop, yeah,
Yeah.
so that we can
Listen,
see more things in focus.
you see, now this is where I'm counter to Jeff. I'm fully sold on this conceptually. That's the cool thing about having two different judges doing this,
Hmm.
because I think there's no wrong or right. There's degrees of right. There are just
Yeah.
some things that are
Again,
definitely
it's
on
also
the
personal
higher
preference.
degrees of
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, it's personal preference.
Hmm.
I like this a lot. I like how this frames up the shot. I know that it
One thing
immediately
I
grabbed my
one thing
attention.
I would have really liked is maybe the legs, cross the legs, because obviously it's levitating here. It's flying in the air.
Yes.
So maybe cross the legs and tip the toes down a bit more. Have one leg behind the other, so it really looks like it's flying in the air. And it's got that really imposing feeling when when you have your legs crossed together. That's like hovering into the battle scene.
I
What I
also
really liked is also the use of the backgrounds. It
uh,
looks like you used the TV and you projected the screen, so it's like it's projecting light, but it's also like very blurred, so that our attention is not on the background. The background is just providing some kind of feeling, and that's the big thing. Like, you want your backgrounds
feeling.
to provide a feeling to your. You
Feeling.
don't want to. I don't want to see the Earth, like in
Earth.
focus. Yeah, the background's supposed to be it's supposed to be a supporting actor to your main actor, which is your model kit. Yeah, and you've
So,
taken that into consideration.
so my favorite shot in this, and okay, actually, I like all of the shots here, but maybe it's just where my brain is at, and I'm sure a lot of us are here. This just feels so Armored Core. I love how Armored Core this shot feels, especially because this one's cropped. So yeah, it's kind of a little more of a wide shot. It's very nice. I want that as a wallpaper for a while. I think it's very cool. And also, these little swords. Yeah, very nicely done on resin casting some swords.
Yeah, because you took
Well
the
played.
main model kit sword and you obviously replicated it. So speaking about those swords, I would love to see, because they obviously they're supposed to look like, I don't know if
Beam
you're trying to
swords.
make them look like a magical, like a Diablo game or something. It's like magic casting beam swords or something, or light
Well, if
effect
you're
swords.
asking that, I feel like they got that right.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
obviously this is a competition where we're trying to tie it back into Gundam universe. So Gundam universe has a sense of realism, right? So for those swords, I would have loved to see the handles painted so they don't look like magical swords. So the cross guard is actual real material rather than a beam effect.
At the risk of spoiling Gundam Unicorn, I'm not going to get upset about there being no handles. Just because they do things in Gundam Unicorn where I'm like,
Yeah.
this is real.
Yeah.
But I do get where Jeff's coming from with that.
Hmm.
It's kind of one of the things that's a bit odd about my Alphamon, and that the sword is a complete beam sword thing. And
Yeah.
it is a thing. It doesn't bug me, but I understand where he's coming from.
Hmm.
I also just want to remind you guys, this builder didn't airbrush this kit, and I'm sure as
Yeah.
you guys are looking at it, you're starting to
Sorry,
notice.
Paul, would you mind
Yeah.
excusing me? I've been drinking too much water, so I just need to,
Okay.
go on
You
a,
gotta take care of
leave.
Gyarados. Go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you can just solo it for like a minute.
I'll solo it. Sweet.
I'll be right back, guys.
Rock and roll, man. Okay, so guys, yeah, if you're ever sitting there going, "Oh, I need an airbrush to paint my kits well," you don't, because this builder is proving to you that actually you can hand paint like a boss if you know what you're doing. And I'm very impressed with the hand painting on this. Also quite inspired. I actually was talking to Jeff the other day about a kit that I actually want to hand paint, a Gundam kit specifically, and seeing how this builder has pulled it off, I'm like, cool. So I'm like, okay, that's actually, it gives me an idea of how that could look. Dear builder, we obviously we had to be super anal because, as you guys have seen now, this is why this has been so difficult. We've had so many amazing builds to go through. If I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at my second monitor. I just love the creativity behind this. I actually totally forgot that this was a Graze before this, or originally, should I say, before this. And yeah, so very, very, very well done in terms of your kit bashing, your paint job, the presentation, and all that. It's very impressive. And now I have to be a pain in your ass and go after you and go, see these little like bumps here? It's called wet sanding. You can get them out if you're feeling brave. Uh, yeah, that's me being anal. I agree with Jeff with the feet crossing to get the ballerina flight pose. So that's definitely something. Um, yeah, I'm curious to see what Jeff has to say after he's dealt with the Hydra. Um, uh, yeah, I mean that's literally all I have to do. Is it? Hold on. So, I'm. You guys are gonna laugh at me now because I've been looking at this for a while and I know exactly where the sword is from. And now I've just seen it in the comments. And the build is right here. Damn it! It's a Grim Good. And that should be even more impressive because I have a Grim Good. I have sanded and cleaned it up to prep it for painting. What's up, dude? And I didn't recognize that this was a Grim Good. I actually thought it was originalized for a second. So yeah, this kit is badass. I can't say it any other way, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys, even those guys, those of you that have submitted, cannot deny that this kit is badass. Jeff, is there anything you want to say? I would like to just draw your attention to these dimples here on the paint and also to this little bit of poor blending here, which is definitely going to knock this kit all the way into last place. Anything else you want to say?
Maybe you can just show it to the next slide. Because, again, you guys don't have to read it, but I really love the imagination that he put in to create the concept for this build, the story that he had. Yeah, basically it's like reimagined what's a Kshatriya, but it's like a Kshatriya that's a melee type suit. Yeah, so it looks really, really cool. What happened to your
camera? My camera. So I'll try and get it back up and running now. But the big thing I got to say with this is that the idea is very solid and very well thought out, and I'm very happy that we got to see this kit because I think it was almost not going to happen. So, yeah. Jeff, there isn't any more after this, is there? I think this is the last one. No, there's one more. Yeah.
Oh, there is. Yeah.
There's one more. I was wondering because I was like, there's a really cool kit that we haven't seen yet. I think this is the last one, hey? Yeah.
Let me just check on my side. Yes, yeah, that's the last one.
Ooh, I love this so much. And also, I feel like I have to say this now as well, just as we're getting to the end of this. There are a lot of kits here I love, and I really love the design, and you'll hear me get, verbally excited about it and all that stuff. But sadly, like, points are points, eh? So, like, please don't take my excitement as a gauge for how well the kit did, please, because like I really love this kit, for example, and there's one or two other kits I really loved. And when we did the points at the end of this, I was surprised to see one or two things didn't make it into the top 3. I was really surprised because that's just how scoring works. Because I really love this. I also really like this giant 3D. I'm guessing this is 3D printed, and I wanted to build the builders here because this is great. Unfortunately, it's grabbing my attention away from the actual main feature, but this is great. Guys, obviously,
remember your supporting roles. Don't give them too much, real estate.
This is such a cool shot.
Attention. Yeah, that looks like such a cool shot, but I don't know what's happening there. Like,
it's just over 9,000, bro. It's just powering up.
It's such a shame. It's like I really like that he's trying the shot, but I just don't know what the message is trying to convey. Is he like self-destructing, or is he going into new type mode or something? So it's a bit unclear.
I mean, I see where you're getting that with that. I just love that, the foreground and the background is separated nicely. I love this up the skirt shot. It's the OnlyFans Gundam apparently. There's a lot of great stuff going on here, and I need to actually go to the turnarounds to show you one of the two of the things that I'd like to obviously like to speak about in terms of developing to take it further. But yes, really great use of Yakdoga, Sasabi, and also the Demibody, not Demibody, Mandilanza.
Well, just the head of the Dilanza, yeah?
Yeah, but still, it's like ultimate kit bashing. It's great. I love this. And this builder's got such a good eye for it. So, unfortunately, okay, but turnarounds, when I say we don't care, we care to the point where I need to see what's going on. Jeff also wants to see what's going on. So there's a few dark spots that made it
it's a bit dark, especially on the backpack,
This metal color. Sorry, I'm just curious about this. This is so cool. It's so cool. I just feel for the scale, it's so wrong. I don't know how to explain it better than that. It's literally
like everything else has a matte finish.
Yes.
Everything has a matte finish, but
that doesn't even bug me. It's just the scale of the material. Like it feels like it shouldn't be that metal at that size. It feels very medieval compared to this very sci-fi looking feeling of the kit. Shininess and matte, I don't have a problem with that personally. But
just the combination, it just felt
a combination of
jarring,
it's made it feel a bit medieval. Nice work on trying to get some hand painting in there. This is a cool design. And actually, I'm going to echo Wowen's sentiments here when he says, "Give it to me, please, and thanks." Yes, I agree. I really like the design on this. This is a Paul favorite in this whole thing as well.
I really like the customization. Like, not talking about the painting side, the physical kit customization.
The kit
side.
bash,
the kit bash.
It's so good. It's so clever.
Like one element felt a bit weird to me was the thrust, the
wrist thrusters.
I think it's the sides. I think it's the side skirt thrusters that he put onto the forearm. And it's like thrusters.
The shoulder thrusters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the shoulder thrusters.
In the shoulder thrusters. Yeah.
So having the thrusters pointing outwards felt like it's a bit weird in terms of design language for everything else on the suit. Like everything's very streamlined, very aerodynamic, and then having those elements jutting out like that, it kind of breaks that aerodynamicness in that silhouette. So it felt a bit like it didn't really belong there. Yeah. I almost feel like maybe excluding them will be stronger. Yeah.
If I had to imagine it without them, I think it would be quite cool as well. I just think it's so clever how you got the Yakdoga arms and the Yakdoga's funnels. Then you got the Sasabi's funnels. And you got a lot of Sasabi feel with a bit of the Yakdoga in there. And then you got the Dilanza head. And I'm just sitting here going, wow, I want a Psycho Doga. And then he's like, we got Psycho Doga at home. But this is better in some ways than the Psycho Doga. That is quite high praise from me because
And then
yeah, and
now
also the color scheme.
yeah. So now, yeah, actually speaking about the color scheme, so you know, in your synopsis, well, it's very short. It's like one sentence. So you say like you like the high new, but I felt the blue is a bit
Very
too dark
Titans.
for high new. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think high new is a bit much lighter, like a violet purple. Yeah.
This is where you guys have to be careful when you like put in your writing. When you say like really like MG Hainu. This is why I'm really glad that I didn't read this stuff and that I just looked at the pictures.
Well, but even
Because
the name was called High New Silanza, so
yeah, I just saw Silanza. That's where my brain stopped. And I immediately felt that this was like that this belonged in the Titans test team in the White Rabbit or White Rabbit test team. And that was cool for me. So I don't know, that was the story I derived. So now that I know it's meant to have been a high new, I'm a little bit like, yeah, you should have gone more light purple. But hey, who cares? I didn't see it. I scored it accordingly. Just some things for this builder, just so that you know in future, this must fix. It's hurting this whole design. You got these mold lines again on their hands and this like horrible nub mark, which is just horrible. And it's not your fault. You didn't put it there, but you can fix it up.
Paul, just hold the shot. Hold the shot. That zoom. So
Stay on
yeah,
target.
but yeah, yeah. Okay, maybe not that zoomed in. Back out a little bit. Sorry, were you done with the nub mark and stuff?
I was just gonna say, I see you, mold line. I see you. I see you. These things
Okay.
give me such nightmares.
So
Yeah.
if you just zoom back into the chest, so one thing I do want to comment is the placement of decals.
Yes.
Felt a bit random on the chest.
Oh, okay.
Generally, decals is placed around like areas which should be like whether it's for maintenance or there's latches or any events like, oh, dangerous, stay away from this area. But when you place a decal that's like on empty space, that felt a bit random, like especially with all the other decals, the placement was pretty good. So it's those two on the chest felt like they were a bit out of place compared to the other ones. Yeah.
Another thing that hurt you here, unfortunately, is something I'm sure you've learned is that when you put decals on, you should clear coat or do
clear
some
coat,
just do some
prevent
spot clear
silver.
coats before you do a matte coat because you're getting silvering here, and that did hurt your chances here because also something like I can't 100% tell in the images, but it feels like these funnels got a little bit like maybe you got a bit excited and touched the one of them because there seems to be a
brushing
fingerprint or something on it. Yeah,
okay.
that happened a little bit. I have to be this anal because of the level of all the entries, and then also your weathering is inconsistent. So I'm gonna go back to your money shots, and I'm gonna show off
about the rifle.
Yeah, not just that, but like you got some weathering here on these joint parts, which is cool, and you got some
Are
weathering
those
here
weathering
on the
or
leg.
are they chipping? Or is it because of chipping that you weathered it?
Yeah, well, either way, there's wear and tear here, which is cool. However, it's not telling me enough of a story because I'm not seeing weathering anywhere else, and that is what hurts you, especially in my eyes, because I love good weathering. See, if you're gonna do it, but there, then I expect to see a little bit on the feet, not like a lot, just a little bit on the feet, and I expect to see some here on the lower legs, and I expect to see some here on the chest, and I expect to see here on the arm because you're holding the gun, and that gun is clanking on that metal there.
Yeah.
So I expect to see that. So, and also, yeah. So, and then the one thing as well, and I'm sure Jeff keyed in on this very quickly too, is he mentioned the gun.
The texture.
This gold,
sorry, if you sorry, go back to the other shot. Zoom out, that middle one at the top.
Yes.
So there's like some metallic texture on the gun, but it looks like it's done by hand. So it kind of it looks like the rest of the kit is like airbrushed. It's very clean finished, but those areas on the gun, it's like looks like it's just it doesn't look consistent. Like the application, like the technique used is not consistent. So
Yeah.
I don't know if those were hand brushed or some markers was happening there or something, but yeah, it just kind of sticks out compared to the rest of the kit.
Yeah. So again, lovely paint that you used for the propellant tanks. But like I said, it just felt like that texture created on there felt a bit medieval compared to the sci-fi techie nature of your build. And this gun does the exact same thing. It just feels a bit medieval. And when I mean medieval, I'm not meaning it as an insult. I mean it as a theme, like how Doom manages to marry cybernetics, cyber, stuff with medieval stuff. Um, I feel like had you leaned into this harder and tried to bring it into more of the kit, you would have had the consistency. Although personally, because of how beautifully you've painted this kit and designed your color separation and all that, which really clever, by the way, and also white, nicely done. Pulling off white is never fun. It's a tricky thing. So to see this, it kind of hurt it a lot. Unfortunately, it did knock you for a few points. So just be careful with that. So the name of the game is consistency.
The builder commented, so he says the whole model was hand painted.
Fantastic.
But I think maybe you just got to lean into that, saying like if you're going to create some texture, then the whole kit or most of the kit should have. If you only have like one or two areas having texture, or it just stands out a bit weird. Yeah.
But
like everything, like everything has a meaning and reason. So you just got to think, okay, if I do this, is it gonna look tied together, or not? Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tie it up together. So the fact that this whole model is hand painted, that is impressive.
Really impressive, yeah.
That is impressive, and once again proving that yes, Jeff and I love using airbrushes, and everybody wants to jump onto the airbrush train, but you can get great results with hand painting, and here you go. We've got two builds here that I know for a fact are hand painted. It was the Kshatriya M and the Silanza, and no, that's it. That's everything. No.
Yeah. So I think, okay, before we go into the winners, should we just take a breather and maybe just check with the chat, like interact with the chat a little bit? Say like, do you guys have a like personal favorite? Yeah.
So in the chat,
love to see.
Yeah, we want to hear your thoughts.
Which one? I see. Zenith is saying, just put it up as the gun doubling as a melee bludgeoning weapon. Yeah.
Unfortunately, with this kind of art, with the art of model building, it's show don't tell. So everything you show has to tell something, because you can't be there to tell everybody your stuff. Unfortunately, that's like the hardest thing to learn as an artist, or as any kind of creative person.
Because you can't be there to tell people, oh, this is my thought process and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Also, guys, wow. Like really wow.
Sure.
Zenith says something here. He says airbrush is easy, but it doesn't replace pure skill. I would like to add to that by saying there is pure skill in everything that you do in model kits, and it's all stuff you have to learn. And a lot of guys think, and this is why I want to add to what Zenith is saying. A lot of guys think that if you use an airbrush, you don't need the skill. Yeah. You have an edge, but you actually don't. You just have another tool that you have to have skill with. Personally, I prefer using an airbrush. I like the feel of it. I like using it as my tool of choice. I also like to hand paint. So, I've just given myself more ways to paint. And Jeff, I don't know about you, but the first time I ever touched an airbrush, I was like 20. Okay?
Yeah, I think I was around the same age.
Yeah, so every single model kit I built before then, I had to hand paint. And I'm talking about cars and bikes. And when I wasn't hand painting, I was using spray cans, like when Tamiya spray cans were still 50 Rand. Good times. But I'm saying this because these are, these are skills that we learned, and thankfully we live in a world now where it's so much easier to get these cool tools like airbrushes and things. Anyway,
and also the skills on how to use these things is also much more accessible. Yeah.
Totally, and every entry here really is amazing. Like, I love what Wowen said here. Is for reals though, every entry was insane. Yes, it was, and it's why we need a third judge. So I'm so glad we have this competition so we can pick our next judge to help us on these things. Because, yeah, I'm sitting here, and Jeff and I don't know if Jeff, if you feel the same way here, dude, but I'm like sitting here going, oh, everybody's gonna hate us because when they see what we picked as the first three, they're gonna be like, oh, but this one was better, and that one, and yeah, granted, that's why we're going to do something cool afterwards for this, and we have got 2 runner-ups, so just want to put that out there.
Well, do you want to talk about because now we're going to the 3 winners? Do you want to talk about the runner-ups?
Yeah. No, I want to do the runner-ups afterwards, actually. Okay, because I'm worried that the runner-up is gonna maybe a runner-up thinks they're gonna be first and gonna throw their TV out the window, and I don't want to be responsible for TV damage. Anyway, here we go.
So before we get into it, maybe just check in the chat. So Zena says he really liked the strike, very clean. Wowen says Finn is win. Finn what?
Okay.
Finn as in finish or
Silanza. Yeah. No, he likes that Silanza kit. So
okay.
He's just like that. Screech says eyeballs. John says kick laugh. I think it's a kick laugh.
And then Jacques also said I mainly entered for posing in the photos. Yeah, you don't need to be have fun with these competitions. It's not like yeah, just have a fun time. You don't need to be aiming I want to be number 1, I want to win the competition. You don't have to. The competition is just a nice group activity to bring people together. And we just out of the competition we will just give you feedbacks quite critically. So and that's but in hopes that you will do better in the next
them is my real test. To afford them is my goal. Sorry.
Random Vortex says the Ksatria was awesome. Christo says I like doing mine, something different. Yeah, totally. You have to like what you did. Otherwise, why would you make the model kit that you did if you didn't like it? But yeah,
exactly.
It's just there's so much potential that we want to see more from you. In the next competition. Yeah.
John Guy mainly. John Guy, I entered mainly for the feedback. Well, you got it, son. Okay, here we go. Hold on to your butts. 3, 2, 1.
And the third place is Astro Strike Green Frame by John Guy ZA. Hey, congrats. And yeah, look at this photo. It's thank you for sending us high resolution photo.
Should I say?
So that even though that you're when you took the shot that you weren't close up with it, because you're high resolution, we can actually just zoom in a little bit and make a better crop. Yeah. So guys, the higher resolution just do you favors, Yeah.
Screech, just before because sometimes the chats get a little bit delayed. Screech's chat came in now. Kshatriya, Ariel, and Green Frame were my faves, said Screech.
Sweet.
So glad to see one of your favorites is in the top 3 so far. And then he also corrected me with the Poggers because it's not Keke, it's Pog because it's fine. I'm old. I'm allowed to make these mistakes. Yes, this game Gundam. Woohoo! I mean, I really like this quite a lot. I like I said, when I first saw the small image, I was like, it's a green strike, cool. And then when I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, this is a great model kit. This is really beautifully built.
Yeah, it's got lots of bravery with all the scribing lines and involved
and all that. That's a hard panel line to clean there. So if only you had panel lined your hands, maybe you could have had first place. Just saying. And panel lines some more stuff here. You could have. Just saying. Moving along. We've had enough feedback sessions. Love these Love these bases,
Yeah,
though.
but yeah,
John Guy, I hope you can.
congratulations, eh?
John Guy, I hope you can tell us where to get these bases in future. But we will speak to you about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we
Oh,
have Asmodee at home by
so
the
second
Alchemist.
place.
Second
Yeah.
place.
Congrats, Alchemist. But
Yeah,
you
so
see, guys, look at like just. I know, like some people are not like taking photos or taking good photos is not natural to you. It's like a learned skill, but presentation is such a key thing. And look how well it looks as a wallpaper. Like I would love. I actually no, not saying I would love. I'm actually going to make this as one of my wallpapers that I'm going to cycle through, because it's not just the lighting, but it's the pose, the composition. It's really well done.
So even though
It's got
like
lots of attitude.
whoopsies,
Yeah.
exactly, and even though like there are whoopsies from the clear codes and stuff like that, you guys do need to learn about this magical thing called wet sanding with a sponge sander, and then using polish to fix it. That is a skill that many people need to learn. I think, and this surprised me. It surprises me that this is second place, by the way, because I know what my scores are. I'm sure I can look at what Jeff's scores are, but when it came out, I was like, damn. And then I double checked my scores, and I was like, oh yeah, actually.
Yeah.
And this is the thing with judging, guys. Sometimes,
So
like I said before,
this one
yeah.
because of the presentation.
Yeah.
Like the presentation points on this kit was very strong. So, hey, yeah.
Okay. And before we go to the first place, I think I should put this in. I'm curious, and I know this is maybe a very dangerous thing to do, but it's just to show you how crazy this can be and how difficult this judging can be. Those of you that are in the chats right now, out of all of the kits that you've seen this evening or today or this morning or wherever you are in the world, let me know. Put down the name of the kit in the chat now for the one that you think should have been first place. We'll give you guys a good minute. Yeah, I think let's do that. Let's build up. I want to see what you guys think is the winner.
Yeah, and then we can quickly read the chat a bit. I think Screech says, "You always been very critical of yourself, the Alchemist, but you made a banger of a custom." Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah,
totally.
Totally. I like this because it was very much in the theme of the competition as well. It's like take something Gundam and make it Gundam.
Christo says, "Will we get a breakdown of our marks in a DM?" So yeah, send us a DM or send us a message or at us or whatever, saying, I'm curious, like I would like to see my score or something. Then we'll send it to you. If you don't ask for it, we won't send it to you. Yeah. Cool.
Valshin, before we get to number one, like and subscribe, and thanks to our sponsor, Pepsi Max. Yay, Pepsi Max. For when you want to drink Coke, but it's sold out at the petrol station, get Pepsi Max. No paid for content.
Says, yeah. So Screech says the Cassatria. The Alchemist says Cassatria. Jacques also said that. Krista says the Candy Coat Gundam. I can't remember the name. The Shinanju. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Jungai. Okay, perfect. I'll definitely do that. I don't know what that means. Do what?
He's referring to the stands. We'll speak to him about the stands. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Candy Coat is. So it's definitely the big battle in people's minds is between the Sinanju and the Kshatriya.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a countdown now. I'm going to start it at 10. So you guys better start doing stuff. So it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Kaboom!
4, 3, 2.
Hey, both our untransformable suits.
And here we go. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Kshatriya. And I'm so glad to see so many people thought that this should also be the winner because, Jeff and I, when the dust had settled and the scores had all tallied up, we both looked at each other and we were like, oh, same winner as last competition. He's got a judge now. He's not allowed to enter
Yeah.
competition.
So Whirlwind, congratulations. But in the next competition, you're going to be our third judge. Okay. So that means you can't enter, or you can't you can't enter the next competition, but you can still build something to, participate if you want to.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, but yeah, this build, it's very creative, very original. And so yeah, on the creativity, you scored high. Presentation, you scored high. The execution, your hand painting technique, it's obviously you bought your miniature painting skills from there.
Yeah.
But it's also very well executed. So yeah, build quality. I think I picked up like one nub mark or two. Seam lines I couldn't pick out.
Where did you find a nub mark? I didn't find a nub mark.
Yeah, I couldn't pick up too much. I can't remember, but yeah, it's obviously the hand paint job disguises a bit of that imperfection because it has that hand painting
it's also consistent the whole way through.
Yeah. So
damn, dude, this is such a beautiful kit. Like, so shame. Well, it doesn't mean you're never going to be able to compete in a competition again. What we'll
just
do
the next one that
what I think what we'll do is not even that, Jeff. I think what we'll do is to make it even easier. We'll just get a floating judge. So when it comes to so we will get you to obviously score people for the next competition, and if you want to compete and enter, you can totally do that. You will just obviously never see your scores, and you won't see the final scores. So at least when it comes to the reveal, you'll be just as surprised as everybody else if you win or whatever. I think that's the best way to do it. Just so that you can keep building. I don't want you to feel like you've been relegated to a desk job now. But yeah, guys, I'm glad to see that in the comments, or in the chats rather, Boomer Paul, that in the chats that you guys all sort of also felt very strongly about the Kshatriya. I know that a lot of you mentioned the Sinanju. I had my issues with the Sinanju. Like if you watch this video again on the retake, I know it's like a whole 2 hours. If you watch this video and you go through and you listen to what I said, and then I'm specifically speaking about myself here, is what I said about the Sinanju and what I said about the Kshatriya, you'll see why the Kshatriya won. Okay. There were so that's for these. So now for our runners up. Ready?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Boom. Okay, so that's the first second. That's the winner's podium. Yeah. Okay. So
but again, guys, like see these photos at the final, there's a certain quality to them, so do you the extra bit and then like really take really awesome photos so that if we printed like banners of these, then at least they look very awesome. So yeah, presentation's key, eh?
Exactly, dude. So I gotta say, the two runner-ups for me, like the two kits that I feel should have totally been up here, was the what's it called, the Silanza. I really like that kit.
Yeah,
it's just there were one or two things that it came through in the scoring, guys, and you must understand some of these scores. Like, I think the difference between third and fourth in this case is like half a point.
It's like 1 point, yeah.
Yeah. And the difference between fourth and third is 1.5 points. Okay. Because my other favorite build out of this, and you guys all did really beautiful builds. So please, it's like trying to pick your favorite child for dinner. My other favorite was actually that aerial. I really, really love that aerial. And I'm just so sorry that we didn't have much higher resolution shots of the aerial for me to really be critical, because that's the other problem. When you're judging these things, you're kind of giving the builder the benefit of the doubt.
Well, look, the aerial rebuild did score high on the painting side of things.
Yes, very high.
It's just the build, the actual build got a little bit like lower because of like seam lines, nub marks, and then the creativity is like, it's a cannon build.
It's a straight build. Yeah.
And
with nothing to take it
So the
somewhere else.
presentation side was scored a bit lower because of a low resolution shot and also the messy backgrounds and the unconsidered background and all that. So that was a bit unfortunate. So yeah.
Also,
so
guys,
sorry.
yeah.
You want
Oh no, sorry, Jeff. And actually, I can't believe I didn't think of this now, but that new, and this is like a special mention for me. Like this is for me it's a special mention kit. It's not like a runner-up or anything. For me, a special kit was the new Xeon. Okay, because when my thing with Gundam, and I'm sure you guys get this as well. All of a sudden, one day, a Gundam just the light hits it the right way, and you're just like, oh wow, why have I never built XYZ Gundam? And then all of a sudden, you find you own a gun tank, or whatever. Or all of a sudden, you like the Geon, it's magic. And that new Xeon, I cannot tell you guys how much I despise the design. Every time I see the box art, I nearly swore. Every time I see the box art on an online store or I see a build version of it with that cheesy ass sword, and I just get this like feel. And then
there's a reason why we didn't. There's a reason why we didn't order it in, huh?
Exactly, right? Because Paul was like, no, and Jeff inside just knew. No, but Zenith, and I'm gonna name you because you built.
Well, he did also respond in the chat, so
you nailed it. You made me really like that kit, and that is like that kit has a very special place, a very special mention for me in this build, in this whole thing, because you elevated it, and I really think that what you've done to it has made it a much better kit. And I'm just sorry for the one or two small tweaks, but geez, dude, to see how much you've improved since your first build, it's like night and day. Had you entered that new Xeon in the last competition, I think you would have fared even better. So let's see what's up next for you. I'm excited to see how you grow in the next competition. Jeff, your runner-ups, your special ones. Yeah.
Well, those were the runner-ups. Special mentions. Let me see. Let me just quickly check who else all entered, and which ones haven't been mentioned by you. I would say the Moon Gundam. Even though the Moon Gundam wasn't a fully painted kit, the builder had a nice, healthy mentality to his build. He just wanted to have an excuse to enter this competition, to take some really cool photos of his simple build and simple like minor paint jobs. And that's, you don't even need to be super ambitious. Like just having fun at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. So yeah, that's my
get the simple things right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the reveals. I'm sorry it took 2.5 hours to do. Jeff and I will get better at this.
I think every entry deserves, the attention.
Muchos attention.
People, everybody that have like submitted all these final builds, you guys spent a lot of time and like love, into your build. So you deserve all the time that we give back. To sign off, Paul, should we mention like the next competition?
I would say let's not. Let's save it for a proper announcement in the future. Let's let people enjoy this one for now, and just really circle the winners.
Okay.
Jeff and I will when I say obviously, our intention is to make all of these available as cool wallpapers and things that you guys can all get your hands on. Would love to see as many of these as possible at our next build meet. Yes, John Guy, you better come to Joburg and come bring your kit so that we can have it up in the build meet on Saturday.
Actually, speaking about announcing the next competition, I think we can do it at this build meet, right?
I think we can, yeah.
Because whoever's in Joburg that can come to the build meet, please bring your finished builds.
Bring your kit.
So that we can take photos, we can take a video of it, include it in our vlog, and then we'll talk about the next BuildOff competition.
And so that we can do our prize giving as well for you. I'll say this much for the next competition.
I'll be messaging the winners with your prizes.
There we go. But I mean, I also want us to do a prize giving thing officially you know, I mean, we'll do it when we'll do our build meet, you know, madness that we do. Yeah, guys, waltzing glory to the winners. Congratulations. Strength and determination to, you know, the guys who didn't make it to the first, second, and third position. Yeah, I'm still surprised, but anyway, awesome builds, guys. Really love it. Please let us know if you guys ever want to. You know, I'm trying to build something there at the Nexus as well. I mean, with the displays, it's, you know, it's Jeff and my stuff, but we obviously want to have more people's stuff there. So if you guys ever want to bring your kits and you want to add them to the display, please let us know. I especially want the competition entries at the moment. What else can I say? I was hoping to have the new merch announced for you today, but today was just been a hell of a day. So unfortunately, I just didn't get around to finishing off that stuff. And yeah, so hopefully something positive to look forward to on Saturday. And I feel like I'm laboring this now. Jeff, you better bring that Zeta. I'm dying to see it. I'll of course bring the Estai Live on Saturday as well. And yeah, wow, very impressed. My blood boiled when I saw these. I was like, shit, I want to build a kit now, and that's what I've done. I've got 2 kits. They're sitting in sunlight, liquid, and water, and they're busy cleaning, so that I can prime them and get them done. I wanted to do that today as well, but life happened. Anyway, cool, guys. You all rock. You are beautiful. Your builds are beautiful. Your determination is beautiful. It's inspiring. And we'll catch you on the next one. Build stream, build meet, or whatever's. So
we'll see some of you guys at the build meet this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
Enjoy your long weekend, you know, tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow. And people in Cape Town, you know, with the floods, hope you guys are staying safe, and hopefully it's you know, it's not escalating too much. Yeah, take care of each other, guys.
Just be safe out there, yeah. And remember to keep building.
It's like a Superman fire. Bye, guys. Bye. Boom. Don't break the beacon.
That's a random angle. Just you sexy people. Who were the runners up? Next gen Weasel. The runners up were
cool.
Next gen Weasel wanted to ask, like, who are the runners up? And I'm like, the Ariel and the Salanza. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and I'll do the. Man, I wanted to have a different angle to you now. Now I'm trying to. Like, this is what happens when you try to be too cool, people. There we go. Okay. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.